Hello. So we continue on our podcast from Canada. Today I wanted to talk about dysphagia. They actually called me to the hospital because of an elderly gentleman who has a food bolus that he feels is obstructing his esophagus. It's not passing through. So we had to do an endoscopy on him. And while we're on the topic, I thought we'd just talk about it. So dysphagia, in other words, food or whatever you're having, it could be your pills, or it could be fluid, when it gets stuck in your esophagus. That happens in two scenarios. One is functional, and the other one is when it's mechanical. So mechanical is when there's an actual obstruction there. And this can occur in a variety of disorders. It can occur in gastroesophageal reflux, in other words, when acid goes up to your esophagus, and so you get injury there, initially erosion, and then you get ulcerations, and with time you get a stricture, like a narrowing. It can happen because of Schatzki's ring. We see that quite a bit. That's looks like a ring in the end of your esophagus, and it forms in time, usually with people who have reflux, not all the time, but usually. You can have other disorders that cause an injury, such as taking NSAIDs, like non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, which is like aspirin type medication. And this is usually, those type of medications cause injury to the stomach or the duodenum, but if it's swallowed without, say, water and it happens to get stuck in your esophagus, then it can cause an injury. Same thing with certain antibiotics. So we have to be careful when we're swallowing our pills to make sure that it goes down. You can have other more uncommon disorders, like if you're immune depressed, if your immune system is down, then you can get certain viruses that can affect your esophagus. You can get fungus, especially if you're taking certain kinds of medications or inhalers, like in patients with asthma. You can have patients who have had radiotherapy, like this gentleman that we did today. I mean, he had radiotherapy that for a throat cancer, and he completed his treatment about a month ago, and now he feels food is stuck. So, and he has a very significant narrowing in his esophagus that we had to dilate. So, radiotherapy can do this, and obviously you have to be careful that that we're not talking about a malignancy. So, any kind of like a neoplasm or a growth in the esophagus is going to cause a mechanical obstruction. Functional disorders, this is when the contraction of the esophagus is off. I mean, the body is so interesting. You have contractions that starts from the top, it goes down, but it goes in sequence. So if you lose that sequence, then your food's not going to go down. So if everything's contracting at the same time, it's not going to go down. And that can happen in certain disorders. Sometimes it can happen in diabetics. Sometimes it can happen in certain neurologic disorders like Parkinson's disease and certain connective tissue disorders, such as lupus and so forth. So there are many systemic disorders that coincide with a dysmotility in your esophagus, which can cause this problem. And one way we know about it is when it's a functional dysphagia, usually it's for both solids and liquids. Whereas it's a mechanical, it's usually for solids, and to a lesser degree, liquids. So that's basically what I wanted to talk about today. I hope this was helpful. And until the next time we meet, have a super great day.